And our U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Malaysian Foreign Minister Saifuddin Abdullah have held a joint press conference. And the briefing comes as Blinken wraps up his visit to Malaysia. Our Ryan Meltzer has more from Putrajaya. Ryan, hello there. Well, tell us more about the highlights of this press conference.
Well, it seems that they were fruitful talks and that they were amiable talks. The two men seemed to have some rapport, and there were clearly big areas of agreement when it came to both international geopolitical issues and economic goals as well, and areas for future collaboration. There was some different emphasis, I would say, between the two ministers when it came to international issues. From Blinken, we heard about the South China Sea issue, about America's hopes and goals that it remains free and open and that any disputes be solved through international law, whereas Malaysia basically avoided the South China Sea issue, despite Malaysia being one of 4 ASEAN countries that has overlapping territorial claims with China in the South China Sea. Malaysia did emphasize that the two countries were very much on the same side, on the same point of view when it came to the political crisis in Myanmar, with both wanting the Myanmar military leaders to follow ASEAN's 5-point consensus that they agreed to resolve the political crisis there, and that both Blinken and Malaysia's Foreign Minister Saifuddin want to see a return to democracy and normalcy, as he put it, in the nearest time possible, the shortest time possible. When it came to future collaboration and expanding trade and investment, there was a lot of talk of Malaysia's importance to the US supply chain, especially when it comes to the electronics sector, with major American semiconductor companies and other electronics companies here feeding essential parts into the US's electronics industry. So Blinken and Saifuddin want to see efforts to ensure the resilience of this supply chain, especially in the face of the pandemic, as well as the disruption and shortage of chips supply globally as well. Other areas they talked about collaborating on were digital and cyber security, as well as, of course, post-pandemic recovery. And the Foreign Minister of Malaysia, Saifuddin, particularly held out hope that collaboration with the US would help to boost Malaysia's digital economy goals.
On digital economy, I reiterated to Secretary Blinken that the US is an important ASEAN partner in advancing the region's digital economy. We also welcome more US investments and participation in the various digital connectivity projects, especially in the remote and rural areas of Malaysia.
And this was an opportunity also for Blinken to advance what I guess you would maybe call the Biden democracy, which is of the importance of the Indo-Pacific area, the Asia-Pacific, the Indo-Pacific region as they call it, wanting to see an economic framework for this region, and as well seeing ASEAN as central to its policies and goals for the Indo-Pacific. And that's something that ASEAN leaders, Malaysia among them, will be very happy to hear. They don't want to see a ramping up of tensions and rhetoric between the major powers, but if both China and the US are looking to expand their trade and investment and look for new areas of collaboration with Malaysia, with the ASEAN countries, especially as they try to emerge from the impact of this pandemic, then that's something that Malaysia and the other ASEAN countries will most definitely welcome.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Ryan Meltzer, reporting from Malaysia. And China on Tuesday lashed out at U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken after he said Washington will expand military and economic ties with partners in Asia. Blinken says it's to push back against China's increasing assertiveness in the region. And the Chinese Foreign Ministry says Washington's stance will only stir up confrontation and threaten stability in Asia.
The United States should respect the efforts of China and ASEAN countries to jointly maintain peace and stability in the South China Sea, instead of frequently sending ships and planes as a show of force to create trouble. The U.S. should be a facilitator of regional dialogue and cooperation, instead of sowing discord and undermining regional unity and cooperation. The U.S. way of creating divisions and instigating confrontation is unpopular across the world, and this definitely won't work in the Asia-Pacific region.